Hello and welcome to Math 141, Section 92, Introduction to Statistics. My name is Matt Lathrop. I will be your instructor this semester. You'll be hearing from me throughout the next 17 weeks through emails, the discussion board that we'll all be participating in, course announcements, things like that. But to kick things off, I just want to give you a little bit of an orientation to the course before you dive in and start working on any material. What you see here is the announcements page. This is the page you should land on every time you log into our course in Mylabsplus. In case the announcements tab isn't already dropped down, you just want to click on that. And it's always just a good idea whenever you check in just to see if any new announcements have been posted to make sure you're up to speed on any important information that's been getting sent out. On this initial page, there's also a few other pieces of information you can check. One is your overall score. Right now, everybody's going to be at 0% since we haven't completed any assignments yet. But as you progress through the course completing assignments, that's always going to be a live, updated overall score. So based off all of the work that you've completed so far, it will be giving you an accurate number as to how you're performing in the course. There will also be another graph here, a submission progress bar that sort of shows just more of on a scale how things are going. But you've always got that overall score, which you can also check in the gradebook. But again, just something good to check whenever you're logging in to see how you're performing overall. The Start Here page is where you found this video. After you watch this one, you'll want to watch the other few that are included here about how to navigate the course, checking your progress, and getting help, as well as this campus safety video. For now, what we want to do is go ahead and take a look at the syllabus and just talk about some of the course expectations. We'll be hitting on these lightly. It would be a really good idea for you to make sure you read through all of the information in the syllabus, just so you have an idea of what to expect this semester. If you ever have questions, though, please feel free to contact me. Right at the top of the syllabus is all of my contact information. Stopping by during office hours is great. If you're not able to make it in those times, my email address is probably the best way to get a hold of me. I definitely try to reply within 24 hours to any emails, usually a little bit longer over the weekends and things like that. But I try to stay on top of that so that you guys are getting feedback quickly and can move on past any problems or issues you might be stuck on. We're going to pass through the catalog description, but again, I would encourage you to take a look at any of these sections that we're passing over. And we'll talk a little bit about the required materials for the course. The only thing that you need to purchase is an access code for Mylabsplus. You can either buy that from the bookstore, or you'll be prompted to purchase one through the website whenever you try to access your first assignment. You'll also need online access to StatCrunch, which is some statistical software. That's actually included with your access to Mylabsplus, so there's nothing additional you need to purchase there, but just to let you know that's something we'll be using that will be included. Optionally, you can also purchase a physical edition of the textbook. An electronic copy is included with your access to MLP, but if you're someone who would prefer to have a physical textbook, you can certainly purchase that as well. So we mentioned StatCrunch just a second ago. We've also been talking about Mylabsplus, which is what we're in right now. So you can probably guess that technology is going to be a pretty significant component of this course. A lot of assignments, pretty much all of our assignments, will be completed through Mylabsplus. We'll be using StatCrunch, that online statistical software, to calculate results. So what this means is you need to have a good technology plan in place, meaning access to an internet-equipped computer, and also having a backup plan in mind in case your home connection goes out, your computer crashes, something like that. So one option to keep in mind would be Heartland's computer lab in the library. But it could also be going to a friend's house, going to a coffee shop, whatever, just having some backup plan in mind so that if you're up against the due date and something happens, you have another way to get assignments completed. Malfunctioning technology won't necessarily be considered an acceptable excuse for late submissions. So you want to have that backup plan in mind so you're ready for that event. As far as attendance and discussions, we won't be meeting face-to-face, but your attendance and participation in this course are important. Part of that will be completing weekly discussions. So every week there's not an exam, there will be a required discussion post. In particular for this class, those discussions are really going to be focused on helping you prepare for the written portion of our exams, the take-home portion of our exams, which we'll talk about a little bit more in just a sec. But those discussion posts will be graded. grading rubric will be posted with each one, so you know sort of what you need to respond to and what you need to do to earn full credit there. If it turns out you aren't participating in the course, there are a couple of potential consequences here. Anyone who hasn't logged into MLP and attempted at least one assignment before the drop date will be dropped from this course. So, as long as you're logging in, starting to get work done in the first week, that won't be a concern. There's also a midterm withdrawal policy. If you fail to access our course or complete any assignments for 2 weeks without notifying me, if you fail to participate in more than 2 module discussions, or if you haven't meaningfully attempted at least 70% of the assignments due by midterm, you could be withdrawn from this course. Again, similar to the drop policy, if you're logging in, if you're completing work week to week, that's something you shouldn't have to worry about. But I'll be in touch with you as well if it seems like you're sort of losing touch with the course to try to find out what's happening and get you re-engaged with the material. Homework I mentioned will be completed through MLP, like pretty much all of our assignments. Weekly homework assignments will be required. They have a due date, but if you end up falling short of that due date, you can submit homework late for a 10% penalty. What that means is you should be able to get at least a 90% on every homework assignment in this course throughout the entire semester. Even if you're submitting something late, there's the encouragement to go back and get that, since you can still earn that very high score. Homework is also going to prepare you very well for quizzes and then the proctored portions of the exams. There will also be weekly quizzes on weeks that we don't have exams. Initially, you'll have 1 attempt at every quiz, but if you earn a 95% or better on all of the homework assignments for that week, you'll unlock a second attempt. So again, some more motivation to do well on the homework. It'll give you the opportunity to do a little bit better on each quiz. Practice quizzes are also going to be available, which you can take as many times as you want in preparation. We'll have 3 regular exams and then a cumulative final at the end of the semester. Each of those exams will be split into 2 portions. There will be a proctored portion, which will have to be completed in one of Heartland's testing centers. And that will be very similar to the problems that you see on homework and quizzes. Then there will be a take-home essay-based portion, which will also be completed in MLP, and like I mentioned, the discussions will be helping you prepare for those. So essentially what you'll be doing is writing a statistical analysis based off some data, or based off some other information. So you'll be expected to submit essay-based responses using full sentences, properly analyzing the data as we model throughout the course of the semester. Each of those exams will have a set due date, with no exams accepted after the due date unless you've contacted me in advance. If you do have an issue, something that might be preventing you from completing an exam by a due date, be sure to contact me in advance. Extensions and retakes, though, will only be given in extreme circumstances and at my discretion. You'll also have a couple of opportunities to improve some low exam scores at the end of the semester. So that cumulative final will consist of a proctored and a take-home portion, and the percentages that you earn on those portions of the final exam can replace a score of the same type. So if your score on the proctored portion of the final beats out one of your previous 3 proctored exam scores, I'll replace that lower score with your percentage on the final. Same with the take-home portion. Both portions of the final exam have to be taken in order to pass the course, but they have that added bonus that if you can beat out one of your previous scores, you'll give your grade a nice boost towards the end of the semester. We've got some exam dates, grading structure, grading scales, some different information for you. So exams will open roughly on the dates we have listed here. If something comes up and those change, I will let you know. But each exam will open and then will be due 1 week later, so that following Monday. So we'll technically have 8 days for completing any exams. We have the grading breakdown, 10% for homework, 10% for quizzes and discussions, 60% for each of the 3 regular for the 3 regular exams altogether, and then the final will be worth 20%. There are some important dates for you to keep in mind, including the last day to drop this course with a refund and the last day to withdraw from this course. Hopefully you don't need to worry about either of those dates because you'll keep enrolled in this course and see it through to the end, and we'll be able to look back and call this a successful semester, but just to make sure you're aware of those. The Ferpa statement here is just talking about the privacy of your academic information. In order to guarantee that, I can only talk with you or email with you through your Heartland email account or through messages that you send through Mylabsplus. So if you have a personal email account, an account with another school, something like that, you'll have to make sure you're using your Heartland account or sending messages through this site. And then what we have is a weekly schedule for the spring. What you'll see is a pattern of completing 3 weeks of material and then taking an exam over that content. And that'll stay pretty consistent throughout the semester. We'll have 3 weeks of material, an exam covering that. Obviously we'll have a break about halfway through for spring break. And then towards the end of the semester we'll have 3 more weeks, and we won't have an exam specifically just covering that material, but we will hit this final cumulative exam, which will go back and cover content from throughout the semester. So again, that's just a little bit of a brief overview of what to expect in terms of course requirements and things like that. After you finish this video, be sure to watch the remaining ones on the Start Here page and the Getting Help page. And once you feel ready, go ahead and dive into the Module 1 content. But again, if you ever have questions or problems, please feel free to contact me.